Why is it that many travel stories that you hear tend to go like this?
We were totally tourist trapped. We let him sell us by giving us free tea.
First experience with a shoe shine, and he wanted a lot of money from us.
Yet other people who visited exactly the same place tell stories like this.
It's really, really beautiful. He's a wonderful person. Thank you, Isa.
What an amazing place, what an amazing family.
I'm Joe, and for the last 7 years of my life, I've been traveling all around the world. And one thing that I've really learned in this time is that having a good travel experience doesn't have to do a lot with luck. It's mostly about respecting and understanding the country you're visiting. And this is why today I want to tell you about one of the most popular travel destinations and also one of my favorite countries in the world. So here are my 10 best tips for visiting Turkey. And the first one is quite obvious. It's about homeless animals. You can find stray cats and dogs all over Turkey, and they're part of the culture. Locals take care of them, they feed them, and you do the same. Be respectful to the animals. Honestly, the situation is most weird in Istanbul, where some say that there are 1 million cats in that city. And over there it might happen that if you go to a restaurant and there's a cat next to you on a chair, then if you want to chew it away, then some restaurant owners might get mad at you and you will end up leaving, not the cat. Like I said, first one was obvious, yet the second one you really need to know, because it's about Turkish markets, bazaars. Vibrant and colorful Turkish markets are known all over the world. Yet there are a few things you need to know before going, because otherwise you might end up being scammed or just buy things that you really did not want to buy. First thing you really need to know is that Turkish people try everything on the market. These are not my words, but the words of my Turkish friend Necip. So feel free to taste different things and don't feel the pressure to buy after tasting. That's their culture, that's how it works. And the second thing about bazaars is that every price is negotiable. I know it sounds foreign at first that you have to haggle and bargain about the price, but that's just how things work. So don't feel ashamed.
Meet in the middle, 300 and we
Oh, make very hard bargain. You are so make hard bargain.
The seller is never gonna sell you anything without making profit, so feel free to ask for a better price and play with it, have fun with it. That's really one thing about those markets that make them lively and unique compared to Western markets. Number 3, and let's go a little bit deeper with our topics. Let's talk about Turkish people. Turks are kind and welcoming nation, and they also like to show their kindness in action. The most common way is to offer you tea, so be prepared to say yes to tea. It will really give you first-hand contact with the locals. You will hear beautiful stories. And if your hosts really like you, then after tea comes Turkish coffee. And here's a few tips about the coffee. First off, don't drink it until the end, because on the bottom of Turkish coffee, there's the coffee powder. Don't feel the need to go all the way. And secondly, whoever made you the coffee, make sure to compliment the foam on the coffee. The local coffee doesn't have anything that would create foam, and Turkish women spend years perfecting the perfect coffee. And if it has foam on top, that means it's quite perfect. So this one really is a pro tip. It's a highway to the hearts of Turkish women. So make sure to use that compliment. But let's continue on the same topic. Turks are not only welcoming, but they are also a proud nation. And this is why the next one is quite important. So the locals absolutely hate when you mistake them for Arabs. I haven't made that mistake directly myself, but what I have done is I've used somewhat Arabic music in my Turkish videos, and it goes so far that every time I use even a little bit of Arabic music, then somebody will write me in the comments like, Joe, good video, but why the hell do you use our Arabic music? We're not Arabs. Make sure that you do not mistaken Turks with Arabs. Alrighty, point number 5, and I hope this one is gonna save you a little bit of money. So it's about restaurants, and my first tip about them is don't eat in the touristic places that are in the center of Istanbul, in the center of town, because over there the prices are gonna be much higher. Yet the quality of food really is not that much better. And another thing about restaurants, in Turkey you are not expected to tip. It's not part of their culture. Yes, you can do it if you really want to. Honestly, it goes so far that I remember being in Mardin in southeast Turkey, and we went to this beautiful kebab place. The food was amazing, the portions were big, and it cost like €2 for two people together. So I really felt like that I wanted to tip. And when I went to the owner and offered him money, he was like, "So you want to buy something else?" And I'm like, no, that's for you, I really enjoyed it. And he did not take my money, and what he did was he told me, "There's a kid next to my door outside who's selling cold water. Go and give that money to him." Okay, moving on. But make sure when you're moving on to move carefully. And by this I mean that when you're moving around in Turkey, do not trust the pedestrian crossings, the zebras. Although there's a lot of them all over the country, then cars do not stop in front of them. They're more like a decoration, you know, it lights up the street if you have some lines on the pavement. And it's really quite bad, like nobody will let you over. And I heard from a Turkish friend that like 10 years ago they had this big campaign that let's start letting people over and let's start using them. But what happened was that some people did, some didn't, so there was a lot of crashes, and yeah, now it's back to normal. So really don't expect that cars will let you over the crossings. We already talked about this before, that Turks are a really welcoming nation. And this is why there's a huge chance that you will be invited to someone's home. And there's one rule you really have to remember. When you go to visit someone, make sure to take off your shoes. For me, this rule is quite obvious, because ever since I was a kid, whenever I went inside a house with my shoes on, my mom would tear me a new one. Like, I did not have a good time after that. Hi mom, love you. But for some cultures, it's not common to take your shoes off, but in Turkey, that's a rule, that's a must. Take them off. Be respectful to the person who cleans that house. And continuing on the topic of removing shoes, this is gonna be a big one. The dress code in Turkey. Why I mentioned removing shoes is that there's one place in a country where everybody has to take off their shoes. And that place is a mosque, cami in Turkish. Mosques are really the one place that truly has a dress code. First off, everybody takes off their shoes, and secondly, everybody must dress respectfully, meaning long pants, shoulders covered, and for the women, you are also expected to cover your hair with a scarf. So the one time you truly have to think about what you wear in Turkey is when you are planning to visit the mosque. But in the rest of the country, there's no rules when it comes to your clothing. And if you didn't know that yet, then this is mostly thanks to this guy here. About 100 years ago, after the First World War, he modernized Turkey. And thanks to his effort, Turkey now has this unique culture that's a mix of non-religious law and Islamic faith. And it's just unique and beautiful. Now that you know what to wear, we should probably move on and also figure out what to say. Learning a few words of Turkish really goes a long way. Turkish is really quite a unique language, and surprisingly, it's more similar to Finnish and Estonian than Arabic, for example. It's fun to think that about 5,000 years ago, us and Turks might have been the same nation. But then, some way, my ancestors decided to move north to this. I don't know what they were thinking. Back to the topic of language. So to have a really authentic experience with the locals, learn a few words of Turkish. For example, the easy ones, merhaba, teşekkür ederim, afiyet olsun, rica ederim. But there are also few expressions I would also consider as a pro tip. And these would be something like kolay gelsin. It's really a beautiful saying, may the work be easy on your hands. Or eline sağlık, that you say after a really good meal, health to your hands, like your hands be blessed, because they created something so beautiful. As I said, unique and beautiful language, right? Are you already feeling comfortable to take your Turkish adventure to a next level? Because for the last point, I'll tell you something that will really bring the travel experience up a whole notch. So the last tip is that don't think that Türkiye equals Istanbul. Yes, Istanbul is interesting and huge, but Turkey is so much more. Be adventurous, be spontaneous. Go and enjoy the hot pools on top of Cotton Mountain. Have the world's most famous kebab in Adana. Help locals harvest tea in Rize. Or you know what? Just stop in a small random village and buy gözleme for a local vendor that cooks it in a wood oven. And you can take my word for it that these memories are the ones that stick. These memories are the reason why I've been traveling for 7 years. And those memories, nobody can take them away from you. Friends, by now you know how to behave in Turkey. You also know how to win the hearts of local people. So next up, make sure to check out this video to see the most beautiful places in this country so that you can mark them down on your own map and have the best holiday you've probably ever had. Take care. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you back on the channel in a tiny bit less than a week. Bye.